Hi, I'm Marty Glickman speaking for Sports Champions, and I'm talking with one of the top right-handed pitchers in baseball, Don Drysdale of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Don, it seems like only yesterday that you were a 19-year-old youngster breaking in with the Brooklyn Dodgers back in 1956. I won't forget that first start of yours against the Phillies.
Well, that's right, Marty. I think that possibly every youngster, when they get up to the major leagues, and every pitcher remembers the first game in the major leagues. Overall, more than a lot do remember that night in Philadelphia. It was quite interesting to me. It's probably the last time I've ever done this, because the first three hitters hit against me was they were Richie Ashburn and Frankie Baumholtz and Solly Hemus, all three left-handed hitters. And I struck all three of them out in the first. Struck out three left-handed hitters in a row.
What blazing speed and that fine control. The third and very difficult asset for the hitters to solve is that sidearm delivery of yours. When did you start throwing sidearm?
Well, I actually started throwing sidearm, you might say, when I was about 5 years old. That's about when I started playing baseball. My father was a professional ball player, and I just played catch with him a lot. But I played second base a lot in high school, and I more or less just got that sidearm flip and toss from playing second base and making the double play and the pivot and things like that. That's the way you threw. And I believe that every boy should throw natural. In other words, there's no pitcher in the major leagues today that has got there by copying somebody else's style. I think that every individual has their own particular style, and this is the way they should pitch. And you have to get the best out of what you have. You can't try and throw overhand if you're a sidearm pitcher like myself. Or take a fellow like Sandy Koufax, can't throw sidearm because he's an overhand pitcher. And these are things that a boy has to realize. He has to throw natural, whichever way is natural for him. And you can't try and copy somebody else, because either hitting or pitching, I don't know of anyone that's got to the major leagues copying somebody else's style.
What about young pitchers in baseball today? When should they start to develop a variety of pitches?
I would say that, speaking for youngsters, before they enter into professional baseball, I would recommend them just to throw good, hard fastballs, because I know today that everyone's looking for a good pitcher that can throw hard. And if you don't have it, why, it's a little tough. They can always teach you the fundamentals of throwing curveballs or throwing a slider, throwing a changeup. These can all be taught. But when it comes down to having a boy with a good fastball, this is something that is God-given. It's just like a boy that can run fast. You can either run fast or you can't run fast. And it's the same with pitching. You either have a good arm, strong arm, and a good live fastball, or you don't. I would recommend for boys, when I talk to them, to start throwing their curveballs, I'd say when they first get in high school, because don't take the opportunity of hurting your arm. 9 out of 10 boys, anyway, don't know the proper way to throw a curveball. And a lot of them don't warm up right. And all of this enters into, you might say, their bodybuilding at this time when they're coming into high school. And things like this should be taken into consideration, and work on the fastball and build yourself up for a good fastball, because believe me, these other things can be taught.
What are some of the fundamentals of throwing a good curveball?
Well, the basic fundamental of throwing a good curveball, you've got to have a good loose arm. You can't stiffen up on the curveball, and you've got to have a good supple wrist. And the ball rolls out over your top 2 fingers. But in illustrating this to a young boy, it's a little hard for them to grasp it right at the time, because the wrist is bent in such a manner that I think it's hard for them to believe that you really bend your wrist in this manner to throw a baseball. And to throw a curveball the proper way, this is what has to be done.
Thank you very much, Don Drysdale, of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Thank you, Marty.